Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be on the top 7 things you need to know when living in Provo, Utah. And since I'm not from Provo, Utah, I'm going to give you my honest opinion and go over these with you. And I'm getting after it right now. I'm Greg Spackman, and I'm with the Living in Salt Lake City channel. So if you want to learn everything about what it's like to live here, eat here, sleep here, play here, then click the subscribe button and the bell to be notified every time I do new videos. I've been getting a ton of people that are just like you, that are reaching out to me, that are wanting to make that move to Provo, Utah, or the Salt Lake City area, and I absolutely love it. So give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I'd love to talk to you more about your journey here to Utah. Before we get going on the video, I just want to give you a quick location of where Provo is in relation to Salt Lake City. So let me open up the map so you can see that. So you can see Provo is right here, highlighted in red. Right up I-15 is Salt Lake City. So right now, this time of day, it's 44 minutes up to Salt Lake City on I-15, which isn't bad at all. It's 45 miles. So basically, you're going to be going about 60 miles an hour-ish. You could probably drive a little faster if you took the carpool lane and get there maybe 40 minutes. So that's where it kind of is. Some cool things that are around it before I jump into my 7 things. You have Deer Creek Reservoir, this reservoir here, which is my favorite reservoir to go at. We typically go there at least 3 or 4 times over the summer. We'll take our kayaks and canoe and paddle boards and just have a great time at the lake, put our canopy up at the shore, and then bring sandwiches and that sort of thing and just hang out all day and relax and enjoy the sun. You don't have internet access there, so your phone doesn't work typically, and so you're kind of away from your devices for the most part, which is great. And then up this way, then past that, you can go up here to Jordanelle, which is another reservoir. It's a little colder, the water, but it's a bigger reservoir, so we haven't gone there since my nephew said the water is much colder. We just stuck with Deer Creek. Then you have Park City as well, and then you got your Solitude and Brighton ski resorts here, and then Snowbird and Alta are right in this range. Sundance is right over here, so Sundance is super close. They also have this other cool reservoir that when you go out, American Fork Canyon, which is right here. Tibble Fork, which is a neat little place to go fishing if you want like a neat little reservoir, and then people will swim in it. I've heard the water is pretty cold. I'm sure it's super chilly right now since it was iced over most of the winter. But I just want to give you a quick overview and talk to you a few things about it before I got into my 7 thing. And so the top 7 things, well, I've been here about 2 years now, and so I've been to Provo 5 or 6 times, and these are my 7 things that you need to know if you're planning to live there. And number 1 is something that most people may or may not know or talk about, and you may not hear about in other videos, is Utah Lake is right there. And Utah Lake is like a hidden gem in Provo, Utah. It's really underused. It just doesn't get the same traffic as some of the other lakes get, and people take for granted that it's actually in your backyard pretty much. And it's about 13 to 15 feet deep, so it's not super deep, but you can boat on it, you can fish on it. Heck, my son just told me that he has a buddy from his work that wants to go catfishing there, and he catches these monster catfish. So we're supposed to do that over the next month, go there one night, and his buddy knows the spot to fish, so hopefully we can go and catch some catfish. So just know that you have that available to you if you weren't aware. And I know you're going to see it on the map and you'll see it driving, but people just forget that it's there because it's there. The number 2 thing you need to know is that Provo is very, very heavily LDS. And this is their mothership. This is where everything is. This is where BYU is. This is, kind of their Mecca or whatnot. And so that's a really good thing if you're part of the church. If you're not, then you just need to be aware that it's a big thing in Provo, and it's not a problem at all because the people that are part of the church are super friendly and super nice, and typically they're very welcoming to people that aren't. And so that's number 2 on my list of what you really need to know when living in Provo, Utah. Number 3, and I'm going to pop open the map just to show you that real quick. All right, so here we have Provo, Utah, and the major con of it is you only have I-15 to deal with. You got one freeway to deal with, and then you have State Street and then other side roads that you're going to learn to get around. So it's not necessarily a problem with all the different roads and everything that you could take, but there's only one freeway. So you may be coming from somewhere where there's a bunch of different freeways, and you're going to be stuck with just one. So that's number 3 thing that you should know, is just that there's just the I-15 freeway, and really State Street are your 2 major ways to get around. Number 4 thing on my list, the nightlife is terrible in Provo. And that's mainly because it's the LDS capital. And so it has 2 bars that are in Provo, and that's pretty much it for nightlife. You're going to be going elsewhere for your nightlife needs. There's not a nightclub there for you to enjoy. Any sort of nightlife is just really not all that great in Provo. Well, let's be honest, it's awful in Provo if you need that sort of thing. The number 5 thing is a great thing about living in Provo, Utah, and that's that it has good public transportation. You have the front runner train that runs, so you're going to be able to get up to Salt Lake City super easy, or to the airport really easily. They have buses, they have ride shares, they have Uber, Lyft, of course. They have something called the UVX, which is going to get you an express line between BYU and Utah Valley University, which is super awesome if you want to just, travel around that way, or if you have classes at both universities or that sort of thing. That's cool as well. But the public transportation in Provo is pretty great. The number 6 thing you should know about Provo is the Provo Airport. If you weren't aware, they have an airport. It has currently 4 gates that you can do. There are talks about expanding it to 10 gates. They just expanded it in 2022. It did just grow. Currently, Allegiant and Breeze Airlines are the ones that fly the most out of there. And so if they do decide to expand it to 10 gates, which hopefully they will, that'll make it even a nicer airport. But you can get to Vegas pretty easily, and then you can check out where they fly elsewhere. It'd be super cool if we could get Southwest to fly in there, because then you could just fly to Phoenix or Vegas or Denver, and then you could go everywhere else you want to go. Delta would be great as well. However, you have your own airport that's in town, that's super close for you to get to, and so that's awesome. The number 7 thing that you need to know, and I do have one more after this, a bonus thing to know, is that there are no professional teams in Provo. You're going to have to go up to Salt Lake City if you want to watch the NBA Jazz or soccer or ice hockey or rugby or anything else that goes on for professional sports. Basically, you're going to get BYU football for the most part of anything that you're going to want to watch. And BYU typically has a good football team, so that's cool that it's local to you. But just know that there are no professional sports in Provo, so you're going to be, a 30-minute drive up, or you can take the train to get to Salt Lake City to enjoy that. The number 8 thing on my list is Google Fiber is in Provo. So if you are a Google Fiber person, then just know that you can get Google Fiber in Provo, and that means you can get definite high-speed internet. However, we have fiber already. We have gigabit at my house, so internet here is not a problem in Utah in general. You have high-speed internet available in typically most areas. If you've made it this far and want to make that next step, please give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I'd love to talk to you more about your journey here to Provo, Utah, or anywhere in Utah. Until next time, be rad.